Before I start the show this week, I would like to extend my sincerest condolences to James White and his family. Uh, White's father, Tyrone, was killed in a car crash late last night. So we'd like to just extend our sincerest condolences and wish him the best and him and his whole family. His father was a police captain in Miami-Dade, Dade. Uh, Off-duty car crash, very unfortunate. So, anyway, we would like to wish James White and his family, our sincerest condolences. Thank you. You're listening to Mondays with Mike. This is an offshoot of Long Shots Sportscast, Longview, Washington's number one sports-related podcast. This is essentially my reaction show, my recap show, where I go over everything that happened in football this week. And we had kind of a weird week. This was a lot of injuries. So what's going to happen is I'm going to break down pretty much every injury that happened this week and kind of how serious they are, and then I'm going to break down all the games, storylines, etc. And we'll kind of go from there. First things first. The sheer amount of injuries that we saw yesterday uh, is insane. For one, the 49ers lost big time. Four guys got hurt in that last game. Nick Bosa, the fear is that he tore his ACL, and as of right now, well, the last update on that was 22 hours ago. They're saying he most likely tore his ACL, but there's nothing been confirmed quite yet. But if that's the case, I mean that's a devastating loss for that defense. And you go for Solomon Thomas got carted off as well, but I'm not seeing an update as to what the injury was, but the belief is that he likely tore his ACL as well. Jimmy Garoppolo left late in the first half, and his injury's full effect won't be felt for weeks. High ankle sprain for Garoppolo. Unsure how much time he'll miss. And then Raheem Mostert, who actually started the game off with a 80-yard touchdown. And I'm seeing nothing as far as an injury. I'm hoping he'll be back on the field too. It always sucks when guys get hurt. Um, but anyway, the injuries were just crazy. So tons of guys get it. Oh, I just heard my girlfriend come home. Tons of craziness. There's going to be a lot going on as far as the effects that this has on a lot of the teams. Obviously, the 49ers got it pretty bad. But Saquon Barkley, running back for the Giants, tore his ACL, and this is absolutely confirmed as of today. I think it's going to put him out for the entire season. Obviously, a torn ACL, I mean, recovery from that's about 6.5 to 8 months, which would mean the earliest possible recovery time would be probably around March, April. It's just your season's done. I think the only time I've seen a guy return from something like that was in his second year. Melvin Ingram tore his ACL. I believe in 2013, he tore it in OTAs in May, and he came back like early to mid December. Obviously, this is a 4-month difference to that, but we're expecting a lot of injuries with no preseason, with no training camp or any of that. So Saquon coming out with the torn ACL, not good. The Giants are looking at probably. I mean, I don't know what the expectations were for the Giants this year, but it's looking like it's going to be full on rebuild mode this year, which is unfortunate. Oh, and rip in peace if you're like me and you had him on your fantasy team. Christian McCaffrey left yesterday's game with a high ankle sprain. He had the MRI. Oops. Yeah, so he's dealing with the dreaded high ankle sprain that'll keep him out for several weeks, and if that's the case, Garoppolo too. So unfortunate. We'll see how he does there. Obviously, he's their best weapon, regardless, and he's one of the best. I mean, depending on who you ask, he's the best running back in the NFL. So rough loss there. Drew Lock has a sprained AC joint. We saw him leave with a shoulder injury yesterday. He said so. He played a really tough Steelers defense, but sounds like we've seen a couple quarterbacks play through sprained AC joints in the past without missing time, including Ben Roethlisberger in 2016, Jameis Winston in 2017. But Lock's injury might be more severe. If we split the difference, Lock misses a month. He would return in the Week 7 game against the Chiefs. Damn. Yeah, rough going because I actually really like Drew Lock. I think obviously I'm not a Broncos fan, but I do like the kid, and I think he's got a lot of potential moving forward. And they like him enough that they released Joe Flacco back in March. So, yeah, I don't know. Cortland Sutton, torn ACL. He will be done for the season. That's rough too. They were looking Broncos were looking like a team that should and could be fighting for a playoff spot. And now they've lost their the quarterback for at least a month, you would think, and their best weapon gone for the season. I mean, they got Jerry Jeudy in the draft. They got KJ Hamler, but man, I don't know. Cortland Sutton, that's a big loss on that defense. I'm sorry, the offense. Wow, it's early for me. Jimmy Garoppolo, we already knew this kind of going in. High ankle sprain, as I already talked about. So, damn. Let me go ahead and share this. So, on the Facebook page, it'll be but a moment. But yeah, no, the injury is just, I mean, they would not quit. I'm not even done. And post. It'll do its thing. Okay, moving on. Devontae Adams, hamstring injury last night. I mean, and the Packers destroyed the Lions. I just want to say, we'll get into that, but they absolutely destroyed them. Not sure if he'll need to miss time. Obviously, hamstring injuries, and this is something you need to watch out for in fantasy football. They're debilitating for players. Julio Jones suffered the dreaded hamstring injury, and or at least that was the word coming out of training camp. And yesterday, he probably sank your battleship with his 3.4 points. So keep an eye. If you see a hamstring injury for some of your guys, more often than not, sit them because they're gonna burn you. Tavon Young, cornerback for the Ravens, suffered a knee injury. This comes just one season after missing all of 2019 with a neck injury. So he'll have only played just one full game since signing a 3-year, $25.8 million extension before the 2019 season. Then we move on to Malik Hooker. That is a torn Achilles, as far as I heard, in the win over the Vikings. That's going to be a big loss for the Colts secondary. The former first-round pick as well, but his season's done. And as you know, a torn Achilles, that's far more debilitating than a torn ACL. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be out for a lot longer. You essentially, when you tear an Achilles, you have to learn how to walk again, which is why, I mean, even despite it being abbreviated, we didn't see Kevin Durant all season after he did it. I've only seen a couple torn Achilles. It's an injury I can't bear to watch. You can see it just run right up their leg. I remember watching deep Chargers fans will remember Brandon Oliver, and I remember seeing his Achilles snap during a preseason game, uh, and then from there, the kid's career was over. So, I mean, this is a kid who was fighting for a running back spot on the depth chart versus a starting safety. But yeah, no, not a good time. And he had a torn ACL and MCL as a rookie, and then a torn meniscus in 2019. He's looking like their version of Jason Verrett. That's unfortunate. Washington football team guard Brandon Scherf suffered a knee injury. Three-time Pro Bowler. They're not sure if it's serious quite yet, but this could be a rough loss for them. Newly signed corner Byron Jones suffered a groin injury. But the severity on that is not known as of now. Raheem Mostert sprained MCL. That's rough. That he could possibly come back from this, but we'll see. But I mean, the backups behind him are interesting. You've got Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman had an undisclosed knee injury, and then Jerick McKinnon, who, interestingly enough, the last two seasons, 2018, 2019, they lost to him to a torn ACL. He took over as the primary back by the time the fourth quarter came around. So very rough. This 49ers squad, I think they're going to wind up with like a better draft pick than they should have, because this is a team that by all means could and should repeat an appearance in the Super Bowl, or they should at least be in the running to do so. And this, I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Tyrod Taylor had the chest injury, and I'm going to talk all about this when I get to the Chargers game. So any Chargers fans watching have the benefit of hearing from a Chargers fan in depth about the game, especially because we actually got to watch it in my area. They found out he was supposed to start. He was suffering from a chest injury reported after warmups, and he actually had to go to a hospital. He hit the injury report Friday with a rib issue. There was no suggestions that he was going to miss the game. Coach Anthony Lynn actually said after the game that he considered Taylor his starter and would expect Taylor to start in week 3 if he's healthy. I'll offer my opinion on that and try to dissect what he really means. Anthony Barr, linebacker for the Vikings, suffered a shoulder injury. Doesn't seem minor, so worth mentioning there. Jaguars center Brandon Linder suffered a knee injury. Eagles guard Isaac Seumalo with a knee injury. Colts wide receiver Paris Campbell with a knee injury as well. And it seems like he avoided an ACL tear, but he's out indefinitely with a PCL injury. So tough loss there. He's a second-year rookie. I really liked him in college. Caleb McGrary sprained MCL. That's the tackle for the Falcons. Bruce Irvin, defensive end for the Hawks, with a knee injury. They also lost second-round pick Marquise Blair with what looked like a serious knee injury. Blair, who had to come in because Quandre Diggs actually got ejected for a helmet-to-helmet collision. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Joe Noteboom, guard from the Rams, with a calf injury. Will Fuller with a hamstring injury. And among the other injuries, Corey Linsley of the Packers, Chris Hogan for the Jets, Brashad Perriman for the Jets, and Connor McGovern for the Jets. And then, let's see, Cowboys lost their defensive back, Chidobe Awuzie. He sat out the final Falcons drive. And then the Titans, Jonathan Joseph, left in the third quarter during the win over the Jaguars. So big injury week. It's weird. I think we're going to be seeing these anomalies all over time. It's like the week 1, we had 20 missed field goals. Week 2, there's like 4. Week 1, I don't feel like we had an ass ton of injuries. Week 2, we have an ass ton of injuries. So tough to say moving forward. Moving on to scores. We had the Giants taking on the Bears. in Soldier Field. The Bears come away with a close 17-13 win. Daniel Jones, not his best night, 25 for 40, 241, 0 TDs and a pick. Obviously, you lose Saquon Barkley. Dion Lewis, 10 carries, 20 yards, but he did get a score. And obviously, no receiving touchdowns for the Giants. However, their defense ate, and Trubisky threw 2 picks, one to Julian Love, one to James Bradbury. And the holy moly. Bears defense got a few sacks in there too. Notably, none for Mr. Khalil Mack. So, interesting to note. Bears, on the other hand, Trubisky, 18 for 28, 192 and 2. That's the Mitch Trubisky we all remember. I do honestly. I think he's making strides to improve, but yeah, there he is. Nothing more to really say about that. I mean, David Montgomery had a decent little day. I just let him go too in fantasy because he's not very good. 16 carries, 82 yards, and then 3 in the air for 45 and a touchdown. Darnell Mooney, 3 for 36 and a touchdown. So rip in peace if you started Anthony Miller and he goose egged you. I didn't, thank God. And Tariq Cohen's stat line was not much better on the day. So all in all, kind of a stinky little game. Rams destroy the Eagles. And I just want to say, I don't understand why the Eagles were favored by even a point. This is a team that gave up all those points in the fourth quarter to the Washington football team. This is a team with injuries and issues. Carson Wentz has not looked very good. I figured anybody that had them favored was huffing paint. Just saying. The Rams come out of it. Jared Goff looking really sharp, looking like that 2018 form. 20 for 27, 267 and 3 touchdowns. Darrell Henderson on the ground with a touchdown. Malcolm Brown no touchdown. Unfortunate. Robert Woods gets a touchdown on the ground. And then Tyler Higbee with 3 touchdowns. Wow, that's rough. I'm pretty sure Skyler was just saying on the show that he dropped him. Troy Hill with an interception and Darius Williams with an interception. No sacks for that defense, which is very surprising. I expected Aaron Donald to get in there and eat Wentz for lunch. Carson Wentz, not his best either. 26 for 43, 242 and 2 picks. Miles Sanders gets a touchdown, and Carson Wentz actually had a rushing touchdown as well. Deshaun Jackson, 6 for 64 is his leading receiver. Zach Ertz, not a good game for him either. And obviously no picks and 1 sack on the defense for Brandon Graham. But no kicks missed in that game, so right on. Washington gets beaten out by the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are looking strong. They're looking like a team that should and could be in the playoffs, and I'm living for it. Dwayne Haskins, not bad, not great. 19 for 33, 223 and a touchdown, no picks. Antonio Gibson, 13 for 55 and a touchdown. He would have been probably my second, my runner-up for a breakout game. What with the Cardinals' run defense probably being, substantially weaker than their pass defense. And Terry McLaurin had a wonderful game as well, 7 for 125 and a touchdown. Wonderful stuff. John Bostic with another sack in this game. Landon Collins with a sack and a pick. Chase Young gets another sack for his rookie resume, which already has, I believe, 2.5. So nice little game for the defense here, despite getting blown out. And then you go to look at the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray, 26 for 38, 286, 1-1 with 2 rushing touchdowns. Wonderful game for him. He's really proving to be just a wonderful dual threat out there. Kenyon Drake, 20 carries for 86 yards. And then DeAndre Hopkins, 8 for 68 and a touchdown. And on the defense, Devon Kennard, Corey Peters, Hassan Reddick, and Jordan Phillips, each with a sack. Obviously, no picks. So, but I mean, honestly, just business, just the Cardinals taking care of business, not letting anything crazy happen with this Washington team. And then you move on to I'll save that one. Ravens Texans. So I had a bet going with the guys that the Texans are better than the Browns. For one, the Ravens would not score more than 38, and the Browns or the Texans would score more than 6. I was right on both. 33-16. So Brady, Skyler, eat me. 33-16. Texans are still not very good. And the Ravens are dominant as ever. Lamar Jackson, 18 for 24, 204 and 1. Rushing, Gus Edwards leading the pack, 10 for 73, but Mark Ingram, 9 for 55 and a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins, interesting to note, 2 carries for 48 yards. Keep an eye on him. And receiving, Patrick Ricard gets 1 for 1 for 1. Aside from that, Hollywood Brown wasn't blowing any doors down, unfortunately. And on defense, Marlon Humphrey, Chuck Clark each split a sack. Deshaun Elliott with a sack. Tyus Bowser with a sack. And Calais Campbell with a sack, with Marcus Peters coming up with the dreaded pick. And the Texans, Deshaun Watson, 25 for 36, 275, 1-1. Excuse me. David Johnson, back to earth, 11 for 34, no touchdowns. And receiving, Darren Fells with the touchdown. Yet again, we heard about the Will Fuller injury. But here we go. Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb. Cooks with 95 yards, not his worst day. Randall Cobb, I mean, but they're bringing you no scores. And this is what I mean. They don't have an A number 1 receiver anymore. It's unfortunate. Zach Cunningham, 10 tackles and a sack. J.J. Watt, 2 sacks. There we go. That's a return to form. Charles Omeniu, 1 sack. Yeah. And then it looked like Kai Fairbairn, 3 for 3 on field goals. Wonderful. We talked Bengals Browns already. Falcons and the Cowboys. This was the nail biter of the century. Falcons get up to just a massive, massive lead. They were up by 20 and they blew it. And they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't turn over the ball. They didn't, Matt Ryan comes out there, 24 for 36, 273, 4 TDs, no picks. Todd Gurley, 21 for 61. Calvin Ridley, 7 for 109 and 2. Hayden Hurst, 5 for 72 and 1. Russell Gage, 6 for 46 and 1. Julio Jones for nothing. Defense, I mean, their defense isn't the greatest. Deion Jones and Dante Fowler split a sack. That was really it. Young Oeku for 4 for 4 on the field goals. They get to a 39 points, and here comes Dak. Here comes Dak Prescott wanting to get paid. 34 for 47, 450 yards, 1 TD, 3 passing, 3 rushing, no picks. A wonderful performance, and we got a couple of Dak Prescott haters here on the podcast. I got to give credit where it's due. He performed out of his mind. Zeke Elliott, 22 for 89 and 1. And I mean, man, what else do you say about it? And then Dalton Schultz, 9 for 88 and 1. They score, get the ball back with an onside kick, and kick a last-second field goal, win the whole thing, 40-39. Check out the highlight reel of this thing if you can. This was high-octane action, and if you took the over, you were rewarded big. Big time, because, man, talk about a crazy, wonderful game. Panthers Buccaneers, this was what we expected. This is the Buccaneers getting their first win with Tom Brady at the helm. Teddy Bridgewater threw for a lot, but it's kind of like a Phillip Rivers stat line almost. 33 for 42, 367, 0 TDs, 2 picks. Christian McCaffrey, 18 for 59 and 2 touchdowns. And then DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson each actually had over 100 rushing yards receiving yards apiece. And then the defense, Dante Jackson with an interception, but no pick sixes here for Tom Brady this week. He snapped his streak at 2 games, I believe. 2 or 3 games. Wowie. Tom Brady, 23 for 35, 217, 1-1. Leonard Fournette returned to form here, 12 for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Somebody learned the offense really fast. And Ronald Jones, 7 for 23 and 1. And then Mike Evans, 7 for 104 and 1 and through the air. And I guess who benched him? On the defense, Antoine Winfield Jr. with a sack. There's one for the rookie. Ndamukong Suh looking like it's 2010 again with 2 sacks. Jordan Whitehead with a pick. Charlton Davis with a pick. Jason Pierre-Paul with a sack. And William Golston with a sack as well. But this was just the Panthers. I believe the Panthers had the lead there for a bit there. No, they didn't. I'm a big fat liar. I think maybe they tied it up or something. It looked like the Panthers were having some fight in them, but no. And they're probably going to get murked by my Chargers too. Maybe they aren't the 5-win team I thought they were, and maybe there's a lot of season left, and I need to not overreact. But it's Monday, so we're overreacting. Niners Jets, the body bag game for Niners Jets. What can I say about it except it's the body bag game for the new generation. With all the guys that were out. Garoppolo 14 for 16, 131 and 2. Nick Mullins 8 for 11. That's the name of a comedian too. That's hilarious. Any Cumtown fans out there? 8 for 11, 71 and a pick. Raheem Mostert 8 for 92 and a touchdown. He had an 80-yard touchdown right off the bat because the Jets are pathetic. Jerick McKinnon 3 for 77 and 1. And then Jordan Reed back to his old form, 7 for 50 and 2 touchdowns there for him. And Eric Armstead with a sack for the defense. No picks or anything. Jets, on the other hand, Sam Darnold, 21 for 32, 179 and 1. Frank Gore, 21 for 63, oldest starting running back in NFL history at age 37. And Braxton Berrios, 6 for 59 and 1. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. Quinnen Williams, 2 sacks. Jordan Jenkins with 1. And Pierre Desir with 1 interception. But, of course, I wouldn't expect the Jets to take advantage of an injury-riddled Niners team. For one, the Niners have a lot of depth. And for two, the Jets' first stringers lose to their second stringers in practice. Adam Gase, his seat is about as hot as Matt Patricia's. For one, I don't know how he managed to get a second head coaching gig. Will be forever one of the biggest mysteries in the NFL. Broncos Steelers. Broncos actually kept it pretty close despite Drew Lock being out relatively early. But Steelers hold on to the victory 26-21. Jeff Driscoll 18 for 34, 256, 2 and 1. Melvin Gordon 19 for 70, but he also had one on the ground, 2 for 14 and 1. Noah Fant 4 for 57 and 1. If you don't have him in your fantasy league, get him. If nobody has him anyway. Justin Simmons with an interception and Mike Purcell with a sack. But it would be the Steelers taking home the win here. Ben Roethlisberger looking great, man. I mean, 29 for 41, 311, 2 and 1. James Conner, bounce back game, 16 for 106 and 1. Rip for anybody who picked up Benny Snell and started him. Deontay Johnson, 8 for 92 and 1. Chase Claypool, 3 for 88 and 1. I was saying I liked him from what I saw in the Giants game. Mike Hilton, 8 sacks, 8 tackles. Wow, 8 sacks, 8 tackles and a sack. Tyson Alu with a sack. TJ Watt with 2.5 sacks, so outdoing his brother. Terrell Edmonds with a sack. Cameron Hayward with half a sack, and Bud Dupree with a sack. So, man, Joe Hayden with an interception because it's 2013 again. And Chris Boswell 1 for 1. So, yeah, but Steelers, they hang on. They take care of business the way they should. Jaguars, my goodness, almost won. But the Titans hang on, bang a last-second field goal thanks to the help of Steven Gostkowski. Jaguars, Gardner Minshew, 30 for 45, 339, 3 and 2. The rushing, James Robinson, this undrafted rookie coming in, 16, 102, and 1. Pick him up in your fantasy leagues. And then Keelan Cole, 6 for 58 and 1. Tyler Eifert, 3 for 36 and 1. Chris Thompson, 3 for 20 and 1. And Clavion Chason, the rookie, with a sack. Aside from that, though, 1 for 1 on field goals. Titans. Ryan Tannehill had a career game here, I think. 18 for 24, 239, 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry did not. 25 for 84. Not his best game. Jonnu Smith, 4 for 84 and 2. Adam Humphries, 5 for 48 and 1. Corey Davis, 3 for 36 and 1. No sign of A.J. Brown out there. On defense, Kenny Vaccaro, 10 tackles and a sack. Christian Fulton, the rookie, with an interception. Harold Landry with an interception as well. And Gostowski, 2 for 2, looking to show that week 1 was a weird anomaly, and he became the poster boy for it. Lions-Packers. Lions get out to a lead early, but the Packers dominate in the later stretch and bring it to an unwinnable height. Matt Stafford, 20 for 33, 244, 2 and 1. Adrian Peterson, 7 for 41. Kerryon Johnson, 8 for 32 and 1. TJ Hawkinson, 4 for 62. Marvin Hall, 1 for 24. Marvin Jones, 4 for 23 and 1. This Lions team is a mess, though, man. I can't sit here and say they're any great, really. They're not. They're going to be picking top 10 this year, I can tell you. And Matt Patricia is going to be fired by the end of the season. He might be fired mid-season. I don't know. I don't know what you do to rebuild this team. I can't think of any ideas off the top of my head, but clearly Matt Patricia and whoever the GM is, they're not the guys to do it. Packers, Aaron Rodgers, not quite the MVP game he had last time, but still decent nonetheless. 18 for 32, 40 and 2. Aaron Jones on the ground. What a behemoth. 18 for 168 and 2. And then Aaron Jones again in the air, 4 for 68 and 1. I believe he had something in the neighborhood of 40-something fantasy points. And then Robert Tonyan Jr., 2 for 25 and 1. But what a crazy, crazy game, especially one where Davante Adams came out with an injury. So not bad at all. Zadarius Smith with a sack, Rashawn Gary with a sack and a half, Vernon Scott with a sack, Preston Smith with a half a sack. And then, of course, you've got Shannon Sullivan with a interception. So nicely done for the Packers there. Just a dominant win heading into week 3. Bills-Dolphins. Bills-Dolphins closer than anybody really thought it would be. Bills win 31-28. Josh Allen, 24-35, 417, and 4 touchdowns. Great numbers there. Devin Singletary underwhelms in the rushing game again. Zach Moss, that goes double for you, buddy. Stephon Diggs, 8 for 153 and a touchdown. If you started him this week, you were happy. John Brown, 4 for 82 and a touchdown. If you started him this week, you were happy. Gabriel Davis, 1 for 6 and a touchdown. And Reggie Gilliam, 1 for 1 and 1. And on the defense, Jordan Poyer with a sack. Ed Oliver with a sack. Mario Addison with a sack. So not bad for them. Dolphins, Ryan Fitzpatrick. There's a better game. This is what we expect from early Ryan Fitzpatrick. 31 for 47, 328, and 2 touchdowns. Jordan Howard, 5 for 4, but he had a touchdown. He keeps getting bailed out. Mike Gesicki, 8 for 130 and a touchdown. So if he's free somehow, go pick him up. He's kind of a underrated tight end. Devontae Parker, 5 for 53 and a touchdown. And not a ton going on the defense. Crazy, I know. So yeah, no, Bills win by 3. Looked like the Dolphins were rallying there in the fourth quarter with 15 points, but of course, I mean, they couldn't stop the Bills all day. Why would they stop them in the fourth quarter? Vikings get a beating. And the Colts suffered some injuries in this game, but Kirk Cousins looked like a dead fish out there. 11 for 26, 113, 3 picks, just putrid. Dalvin Cook, 14 for 63 and a touchdown. Madison's yardage drastically down after last game. Justin Jefferson, 3 for 44. He was the leading receiver on the game, but no scores. Eric Wilson with an interception. Holton Hill with a sack. Yannick Ngakoue with a sack. But not much else nice to say there. Phillip Rivers, 19 for 25, 214, 1 and 1. Take it. Jonathan Taylor, 26 from 101 and 1. They've got a new star running back there, the rookie. Mo Ali Cox, 5 for 111. Nicely done. Keep your eye on him in fantasy. Michael Pittman Jr., 4 for 37 with a toe injury, though. Zach Pascal, 3 for 19 and 1. Defense, Kenny Moore with 4 tackles and a interception. Kari Willis with an interception. TJ Carey with an interception, as we kind of figured. DeForest Buckner with a sack and a half, with Justin Houston getting the other sack. The other half, I mean. And Rodrigo Blankenship with 4 for 4 on field goals. So not the outcome I was expecting. I've expected the Vikings to be a lot better than they've shown this year so far. And there's still a lot of season left, but my goodness, Kirk Cousins was not looking very good. I think we are down to the last 2 games here. Wonderful. All right. Let's talk turkey here. Chiefs and Chargers. Chiefs beat the Chargers 23-20 in overtime. Big storyline here is Chargers. The starting quarterback for this game was not Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor goes down with a chest injury that gets him sent to the hospital. Holy moly. And who gets the nod? But mere moments before kickoff is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert with a electrifying stat line on the day, at least for a kid in his first game taking on the defending champs. 22 for 33, 311, 1 and 1 with 1 on the ground. Austin Eckler and Josh Kelly were tearing it up on the ground too. 16 for 93. Josh Kelly, 23 for 64. No scores, though. And then in the air, Keenan Allen, 7 for 96. Hunter Henry, 6 for 83. Austin Eckler, 4 for 55. Josh Kelly, 2 for 49. And Jalen Guyton, 1 for 14 in the score. First touchdown in the NFL. And on defense, Joey Bosa got a sack. Aside from that, no other sacks, though the defense was very busy. Des King with 6 tackles, Kaiser White with 5 tackles, and Kenneth Murray with 4. Lots of just good pass breakups there. And they almost had an interception, but it was called back out on offsides. So Jerry Tillery played very good in this game, but he's got to work on those offsides because that was one thing that could have helped us out. Herbert made kind of a weird decision late in the third. He was running kind of toward the left, had more than enough to pick up the first down. And right as he's about to pick up the first and probably go out of bounds, he just makes this wildly errant pass to Keenan Allen. And while he's in double coverage and just gets picked off. Really unfortunate. Especially because just prior to that, he did a run to the right and looked to be rocked by a Chiefs defender. And then he gets right up like he's Road Warrior Hawk, no selling a pile driver. And the defender was dazed, and I believe the defender was out of that game. Also of note, Sammy Watkins took a really hard shot in this game, right to the back of the head, and he left the game not soon after, probably concussed if I had to put my money on it. So we hope he's doing better. But no, overall, a great first game for Justin Herbert. However, I will say I'm not happy. He didn't lose the game. Interception aside, Justin Herbert didn't lose us this game. Jerry Tillery with an offsides that could have given us the possession back didn't lose us this game. Anthony Lynn's coaching lost us this game. Anthony Lynn in overtime with 7.5 minutes to go with Pat Mahomes waiting on the other side decides to punt the ball on 4th and 1. You've got 2 running backs here with over 150 yards on the ground between them. You've got a quarterback who's actually had a nice little couple rushing plays. And you're going to go ahead and just punt and give them the ball back on 4th and 1. I get having confidence in the defense, but understand that in overtime, the defense is tired, man. The defense is tired, and you're playing arguably pound for pound the best quarterback in the NFL. Or at the very least, the strongest arm and the fastest legs. I hate Tyreek Hill so much. But he's good. They're both good for a reason. They're champions for a reason. The game's on the line anyway. I would rather you go out there, you get enough, try for it on 4th and 1. And if you get blown up, fine. Then the loss comes easy, and it's that. Instead, I mean, we're waiting through 5.5 excruciating minutes of just watching them dice up our defense because they're just rocked and they're tired when the offense easily could have gotten the job done. Unfortunate. Shame on you. And the prevent defense in the 4th quarter pisses me off too. Like, why would you not just live and die by how you got there that far in the game in the first place? Instead, you want to prevent yourself from winning a game. And then after the game, Anthony Lynn says if Tyrod Taylor is healthy, he will be the starter. And I want to know what about Justin's performance would not warrant him being the starter moving forward. He makes the Chargers more exciting just by being there. I felt so good. I was and I'm a Tyrod Taylor fan. I've said this on this show, but it was excruciating listening to that game against the Bengals and just listening to him struggle. Uh, he couldn't really connect with Keenan Allen. He seemed scared every time he threw. He just, I mean, they got by the skin of their teeth over the Bengals. And I'm here right now. I believe, honestly, if we had Justin Herbert in that game, we would have dominated that team and it wouldn't have even been close. That's how much faith I have in Justin Herbert, and that's how well he looked and how much he impressed me. So I'm really hoping that on Lynn's part, he's not just going to screw this team over for the sake of helping out his buddy. I really hope that this is just coach speak and he's saying it out of respect for Tyrod, but Herbert needs to be the starter moving forward. He gives the Chargers the absolute best chance to win football games. He makes the Chargers more exciting to watch. That's important when you're in a market like Los Angeles, where a city that did not want you in the first place. You have to have players that are worth watching and that are names, or nobody's going to give a shit. I guarantee you right now, as much as good as he is and as well as he's doing, the Pro Bowl voters don't give a shit about Austin Eckler. They barely give a shit about Keenan Allen. How often is Keenan Allen underrated and put so low on top wide receiver lists, top 100 this and that? And he finally lashed out about it on Twitter because he's tired of being disrespected. And I'm tired of him being disrespected, but it's the state of things. It's the market, the very uneven market share for Los Angeles. Like the Rams are always going to get the first take there. That's why we're renting an arena from them. And I think personally, I found it. And I think personally, maybe some of that can go away if the Chargers are to get a Super Bowl in this era before the Rams do. But man, like, I don't know. There's more to it than just. There's a lot that goes into the possibility of this decision, and I just think that Herbert needs to be the guy moving forward. He needs the experience. He needs to get that seasoning that he didn't get a preseason for. That's the most astronomical thing about it. He didn't even have a preseason. He gets told 5-10 seconds before kickoff, "Hey kid, it's your game today." Going in against the Super Bowl champions, takes them to overtime and in a winnable game. I don't know. I'm going to be I have a feeling Lynn is going to disappoint me. Because that's the nature of this franchise. But if they have any integrity at all, Justin Herbert starts on this team when they face off against Carolina. Enough said. Chiefs posted some wonderful stat lines. Pat Mahomes, 27 for 47, 302 and 2. On the ground, he also had 54 yards rushing, was their leading rusher. Chargers could not stop him when he was on the ground. It was the most insane thing. Receiving, Tyreek Hill 5 for 99 and an unbelievable touchdown that they replayed ad nauseum. I hate this man. Travis Kelce 9 for 90 and a score. Their defense, I think Mike Dana, Taco Charlton each had a sack, and then L'Jarius Sneed with an interception. Yeah, I mean the O line. Actually, I will say about the Chargers O line, they held up remarkably well. Trey Turner was a welcome return, and I'll tell you, the running backs they're killing it, man. So I'm eager to see what this team can do against a team like Carolina next. They get to stay in SoFi Stadium, so we'll see what happens. Patriots traveled to CenturyLink to take on the Seattle Seahawks Sunday Night Football. And let me just say right off the bat, the Patriots still have a squad. With one real great receiver to their name, Cam Newton puts up a 30 for 44 stat line, 397, 1-1 with 2 more on the ground. Julian Edelman, 8 for 179 and no scores. And behind him, I mean, N'Keal Harry, 8 for 72, whatever. This was Cam and Julian right here. And this was the Cam Newton freaking comeback party. Oh my goodness. Were these ever like numbers reminiscent of his 2015 season? Wonderful job by Cam Newton here. Despite the loss, this team, they're still good. Rest assured, they're still good. Devin McCourty with a pick 6. No, this team's great. Nick Folk 1 for 2, although the field goal was not the deciding factor here. It does come down to one play. They get down to the 2-yard line with 3 seconds to go. They go to put Cam Newton in there on another rushing touchdown, and he gets stuffed up. He's a yard away from getting this win for the Patriots team. Russell Wilson 21 for 28, 288, 5 touchdowns and 1. It's Russell Wilson's turn for MVP. I honestly think this guy they're letting him, quote, cook. He's going to play out of his mind until he gets that MVP award. By all means, right now, he's leading the pack. It's going to be him. It's probably going to be between him, Kyler Murray, maybe Aaron Rodgers, and then, of course, like Mahomes and Jackson. But right now, I think it's between Russ and Kyler, especially with one being, a team that you assume to be in the playoffs and one that you would not normally assume to be in the playoffs. Kyler might have Russ beat in the long run. It just depends on how the season goes. But right now, I think Russ is leading the pack. DK Metcalf 4 for 92 and 1. David Moore 3 for 48 and 1. Chris Carson 3 for 36 and 1. Freddie Swain 1 for 21 and 1. And Tyler Lockett 7 for 67 and 1. None on the ground. And then the defense, Jamal Adams 6 tackles and a sack. Quentin Dunbar an interception. And interesting to note, Quandre Diggs ejected after 4 snaps. It was a helmet to helmet with N'Keal Harry, and you can go back and watch this and think this wasn't so brutal. But the fact of the matter is, because it's not like this wasn't like a intentional, like a Lawrence Taylor shot. This was like the speed of what happened is all you need to see to understand that, like, not to exaggerate here. But in a worst case scenario, both these guys could have been dead. I mean, matter of fact, I can pull up the ejection. He fakes it out, Harry, and then immediate. He's so fast, and Harry's laying there for a couple seconds. He does get up, though. Yeah, neither do I. So if you're interested in seeing what got him thrown, just watch that replay, and they're gonna play it. They're gonna replay it. It's so fast. So he's going against Griffin. Right as he catches the ball, boom, immediate. Yeah, it's amazing he didn't fumble. Bull, but that is helmet to helmet right off the bat. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's just no tolerance for that kind of stuff, and I don't think Quandre Diggs did it on purpose. I think it's just a case where you got so much momentum, you built up such a head of steam, and boom, he just hit a guy. I mean, this is a guy who was a locker room leader uh, for the Lions prior to the trade. He just, yeah, no, it just an unfortunate happening. It just he happened wrong place, wrong time. He just built up a head of steam and went for it. Um, but they did the right thing. They're trying to kind of get this stuff out of this game, and they're not going to suspend him for the hit, which tells you, I think, everything you need to know. That I think they could kind of tell his intentions were not what showed up on the field. So now we're going to preview Monday Night Football, which is going to be an interesting one. We have the Raiders. They're going to take on the Saints. Saints will be without Michael Thomas for this game. So we're going to be seeing Manny Sanders catching a lot of passes. And the Raiders, I mean, their defense is like paper mache, which is unfortunate because they have a few players on that defense I really like. Jonathan Abram, especially. But that their offense can put points on the board, especially Josh Jacobs. It's just going to be interesting how they stack up against this Saints defense. I got the Saints to win this thing here, no doubt about it. No doubt in my mind. But crazier things have happened. I think Skylar has the Raiders to upset, so we'll see what happens. But that is what I see. I see a Saints win here. I think I've got the Saints win in like 34-24. I expect the Raiders to put points on the board because they're just a scrappy squad, but the Saints, they'll get into the 30s on this one. I have every inclination to believe. Anyway, that is my Monday night preview. So kick it back here with us Friday, and we will preview all of the week 3 matchups, bums, breakers, upsets, you name it. In the meantime, I'm going to go chill till I have to go to work. So catch you later, guys. Take her easy. How do I stop this? Oh, right there.